What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Life After Lockup Season 5, Episode 44. Let's get into Bianca and Daniel. So last week, Bianca and Daniel got into a really big argument. Bianca, Daniel, his parents, and his cousin had all met up at this bar. Bianca had been drinking before Daniel and his parents came in. She had been drinking with his cousin. And so when Daniel showed up, he saw that she had clearly been drinking and she even appeared to be drunk, and they got into an argument because there's this whole issue where Bianca does not want to stop drinking in order to help or support Daniel's road to sobriety. Daniel thinks that this just shows that she's not being a very supportive girlfriend because she won't stop drinking around him, etc. So they got into an argument about her drinking. When they got home, they argued some more, and Daniel opted to sleep on the couch. Bianca slept in the bedroom. So the next morning they wake up. Well, she wakes him up. She wakes him up, and right away she starts talking about how by now he should have already proposed to her, should have already had given her a ring. Now he did buy a ring when he was out with his parents. He did buy her a ring, but he's beginning to have second thoughts after he saw her drinking and seeing that she really wasn't trying to support him and trying to stay sober. He's been having some second thoughts, amongst other things. So she tells him, you should have already proposed to me by now. He's like, I just got out of prison, because y'all, it's only been 3 days since he's been released from prison. And he tells her, just give me time. So Bianca asked him, if you weren't gonna if you didn't want to get married to me, then why did you even propose when you were still in prison? And he says, I was dumb and stupid. So then she took offense to that. She was hurt by that. She's like, you proposing to me makes you dumb and stupid. So then she brings up the whole coffee thing. If y'all remember, his first morning out, he made breakfast for the both of them, and then she asked him to go get her a cup of coffee. Now, I did not know at the time when I saw that episode that this was trending on TikTok. So I'm wondering if she got this idea from TikTok, because I've seen this trend on TikTok where the wives are asking their husbands or their boyfriends or whatever, can you get me a cup of coffee? So y'all are like chilling in the living room, and just out of nowhere, you ask your dude, hey, can you get me a cup of coffee? And this is supposed to test to see, is he willing to do this one little thing for you? Now, the ones that I've seen, all the men have said, no, get your own damn coffee. So this is supposed to show, I guess, that your dude doesn't love you, or you're not worth a cup of coffee to him. I don't know what the hell is going on. I think the whole thing is stupid, but whatever. So she's still stuck on that coffee thing and how he didn't get the coffee for her. And he told her once again, they're repeating the same argument. He told her once again, I made breakfast for you. Why can't you just walk 10 steps to get your own coffee? So then she says, I've done so much for you. I've moved across the country for you. You can even get me a cup of coffee. So we're going back down that road again. And so as they were arguing about this, he raised his voice. Daniel got really upset and he like shouted at her, and this triggered her. So right then and there, she was like, hold up, you do not raise your voice at me. Now, Bianca tells us that she has been in abusive relationships in the past. And so a man raising his voice triggers her because she thinks this is the gateway to abuse. It starts with the raising of the voice, then it goes to throwing of things, then it goes to hitting you. So this really triggered her. So she was like, I'm gonna nip this in the bud right now. And so she was like, you do not yell at me. And then she tells him, well, maybe we shouldn't even be together. Maybe this isn't gonna work out. Then he says, so you want to throw away our whole relationship because I yelled at you? Um, I'm like, Daniel, this is your way out. Why are you trying to convince her to stay? This is your way out. She's giving you an out. Anyways, he doesn't take it. He's like, oh, I'm sorry for yelling and whatever else. Yeah, you shouldn't yell. Please, yelling and I don't think there's ever a situation where, two adults have to start screaming at each other. We can have a discussion. We can have a disagreement. We can even have an argument without the raising of voices. So they get through that. After she tells them, don't yell at me, they get through that, but then they're still arguing about the coffee. Bianca says, well, when we get married and have kids, you're not going to want to do anything for the family. Now, she's basing this on the fact that he didn't get her a cup of coffee that morning. So because he didn't get her a cup of coffee, then he's not going to be reliable as a husband and a father. So Daniel tries to tell her, like, you're talking about apples and oranges. That's completely different. Eventually they end up making up. because she gets, she's tired now. She's exhausted from all the arguments that she started. She's exhausted now. And so she's like, well, let's just make up. So they kiss and make up. And for now, there's a pause in the Discord, but it's going to start back up. So Bianca tells us that life with Daniel isn't exactly what she expected, like what everyone else was trying to tell you. Everybody else was trying to tell you, you're you moving across the country, paying for this apartment, to be with this man, trying to marry this man is not a good idea, Bianca. It's not a good idea. Y'all don't know each other. Having a prisoner relationship is very different from having a real relationship in the outside world. You can't just turn your whole life upside down for this man. You can't do that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So she's beginning to realize that, this vision that she had in her mind of how it's going to be with Daniel, real life isn't living up to her expectations. Moving on from there. Later on, Daniel meets with his cousin. This is the same cousin that Bianca was drinking with at the bar. So that episode where Bianca and the cousin were having drinks at the bar, Bianca was unloading all of her issues on the cousin that she was having about Daniel. She talked about how he's like a mama's boy. She talked about how she wasn't satisfied with their sex life, that because there wasn't enough foreplay. And I'm like, okay, the guy just got out of prison. But anyways, um, so she had unloaded all of her issues about Daniel on his cousin. So later on, Daniel meets with his cousin, and they talk about Bianca's drinking. And the cousin says, I really do think she might have a problem with alcohol. The fact that she's not willing to give it up, the fact that, she was just knocking him down at the bar. I had 2 drinks. She had like 3 or 4. The cousin says that Bianca also complained about, he tells Daniel, yeah, she also complained about your sex life. She said that you're not giving her enough foreplay. And Daniel was like, well, why wouldn't she tell me that? And then the cousin was like, well, she wanted me to tell you. I thought that was also kind of weird that this cousin that she really doesn't know, that she was talking about such personal things with his cousin. I thought that was really weird. I chalked it up to her being tipsy or whatever. That's what I thought. Maybe she wasn't in her right mind, and she had all of this stuff building up in her, and she just wanted to unleash on whoever was willing to listen. But yeah, it was sort of strange that she was talking about intimate things with his cousin, someone she doesn't know, someone who's like almost like a brother to him. She should have just, whatever issues that she had, she should have just went straight to Daniel. So Daniel didn't like that, and the cousin talks about how maybe they might not be ready for like a really serious relationship. Daniel, of course, I think he kind of agrees because he's beginning to see the red flags. Um, there's red flags within both of them. There's red flags within both of them. Daniel has a lot to work on. He needs to be given that opportunity to work on himself, get himself together before he's in a relationship with somebody else. Bianca, to me, is also not ready for a mature relationship. She seems really immature, and her taking on this relationship with this man who's almost like 10 years older than her, who's been in prison, who has addiction issues. I don't think she's ready to deal with any of that. So hopefully they'll both realize by the end of the season that they don't need to be together and that they need to break up just until further notice. Maybe sometime down the road they can, reconnect or whatever. But for now, they don't need to be together. Bianca, I don't know what you're gonna do about that damn apartment. Enjoy your last remaining months in Arizona. While you ride out your lease. Daniel, I think, should go to stay with his parents. Yeah. Let's move on to Melissa and Louie. So it starts off with Melissa, Louie, Melissa's sister. They all meet up with Melissa's father to celebrate his birthday. They meet up at this restaurant. And as soon as Melissa sees her father, she starts telling us in her confessional that she's really worried about her father's health. He looks really frail. He's just skin and bones. So she's really worried about her dad's health. So, when finally Louie and Melissa's father get a chance to be alone, Louie finally asks her father for Melissa's hand in marriage, even though her father had issues with Louie because he had been in prison. At the time when they first met Louie, he wasn't working. When he first came out, he wasn't working or whatever. They really didn't see the potential in him. So now that Louie has gotten a job, he's got several jobs. He works at the pizzeria. He has a social media. He's selling supplements. He's doing personal training. So the father was like, Louie's come a long way. So the father went ahead and granted his permission for Louie to marry Melissa. Wonderful. And Louie once again mentions that he spent $18,500 on this ring for Melissa. That just like every time I think about that ring and oh my God. Anyway, so Melissa must move on from there. So now in the next scene, Melissa is having a bubble bath, and Louis comes home from the pizzeria, and he comes home with boxes of pizza. So he goes into the bathroom where she's bathing, and she complains about, oh God, we're having pizza again. And they both work. She works at the post office, and she also works somewhere else. So they both work a lot. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So she's complaining about them having pizza again. If there's no time to cook, I guess in her mind, she's like, why can't we have takeout, from other places other than pizza? So then she starts complaining about how she doesn't feel like Louis makes her a priority. She thought that by him moving to New Jersey with her, that they would spend more quality time together. But it seems like she sees him even less now that he has started working. And his social media takes up a lot of his time. So she's really upset about that. And so she brings this up to him. And she also has an issue with the social media because I guess girls are leaving a lot of comments, and that's making her insecure. I don't know if he also does personal training with women, but the whole personal training social media job, that's what's giving her the most issue. She really, really, really doesn't like it, and I guess it's making her feel a little bit insecure, because female attention. He's on the internet. I'm assuming he's showing off his body to show, what he looks like, to prove to people that he can personally train you to look like him. So he's showing off his body on the internet. Women are responding, and it's making her feel very uneasy. So as she's bringing this up, and he's trying to let her know there's nothing going on, this is just a job for me, it made me think to myself, there was a time when Melissa complained about him not working, when Melissa complained about him not doing enough. Now that he is working, and he's working several jobs, she's complaining that, oh, he doesn't spend enough time. And I always, get kind of irked by women who want their men to make a lot of money, but to make a lot of money for a lot of people, you have to work a lot. And then they complain about, you don't spend enough time with me. So you can't really have it both ways. If you want a man to bring in a lot of income, he might have to work a lot. So you can't complain that, but you're not around enough. I need you to spend more time with me. I need you to make me a priority. So then you need to be happy with having less money then coming in. I don't know what Melissa wants, because she was really upset with Louis when he came out of prison, how he wasn't making money or making enough money. He does the pizzeria thing, I guess, because it's easy money. I don't know. It's easy job for him to get. I don't know why he's so hooked on working at pizzerias, but he does have this other income as well. So I'm not exactly understanding like why she's upset. But anyway, so while they're having this very serious conversation, his phone rings and he takes the call. And this makes her upset because it proves once again that he puts his work before her. And so she takes a wet washcloth and she throws it at him, and it hit him right in the face. And then he knocks down the pizzas all over the bathroom floor. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? What kind of mess is this? I didn't know Melissa and Louie got down like that. I had no idea they got down like that. Throwing things, knocking down food all over the bathroom floor. I didn't know they got down like that at all. Yeah. That was quite interesting. And he bought her an $18,500 ring. Moving on to Michael and Justine. So Michael and Justine go to consult with an attorney about Justine making a will. And so when they sit down to talk with the attorney, Justine first they talk about, I guess, like a living will, like if anything should happen to her where she has not passed away, but she's in like an incapacitated state or whatever, the decisions that she would want made for herself. So she said that, yes, I want all life saving measures taken. If I'm in a situation where my life is on the line, I want the doctors to do whatever they need to do, blood transfusions, whatever needs to be done to save my life. But if I don't have quality of life, I don't want to live. And so then Michael was like, wait a minute, you might get better. And she's like, but I might not. And I don't want my children to see me like that. I don't want you to see me like that. So that's a very difficult, very, very difficult decision that, we all need to consider. So that was, I mean, this is a tough situation for them, but it was good to see this. It's good to see real life being discussed on a show like this instead of all the bullcrap that we see, because it makes you think about your own life. It makes you think about the decision that you're going to make for your own self. So I really enjoyed this particular scene with Michael and Justine, with her, telling Michael like, hey, if I'm not going to have quality of life, just let me go. And I agree with Justine on that part. So the lawyer then asks about who would take care of Justine's minor children, the ones that she had before she got with Mike, who would take care of them if anything happened to her. So Justine told the lawyer, I would want my oldest daughter, Kylie, to be the guardian of my two boys. Even though the boys have the same father, their father is still living. I guess he's really, really out of the picture. She says, I would want Kylie to take guardianship. And then Michael got upset. And Michael was like, but Kylie's a child. She's 19. He says, but Kylie's a child, and that would break up the family. I want the family to stay together. Just because you're not going to be in the picture, it doesn't mean that the family should be broken up. And so Justine's issue is that one of her sons, is on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum. And he's high functioning, but he does have a problem expressing himself. So when he has an issue with that, and I guess when that erupts into him having an emotional breakdown of some sort, she wants her daughter to be able to, to take care of him and to be there for him, because her daughter understands him better. Her daughter has more patience than Michael would. Michael, as we have seen many, 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 many times, he does have a temper problem. He does have very little patience. He's, punching walls. He's always walking away when the situation gets too tough. So we have definitely seen that. So Michael got upset. He gets up. He walks out of the lawyer's office. He walks all the way outside to take a breather. So while he's gone, the lawyer tells Justine, well, what about if Michael and Kylie had co-guardianship, so that your daughter will still be able to make decisions for your son, but Michael will still have a father figure in your son's life? And I was like, come on, law degree. Yes. I thought that was a great idea. I don't know how logistically how that would work, but I thought that was a great idea. It was a great compromise for them to have co-guardianship, so that Kylie doesn't have to give up her whole life, to be her brother's main caretaker. Like, it's not like he's, completely can't take care of himself. He's high functioning, but she doesn't have to give up her whole life to raise him and, her other brother, but she'll still be there to make decisions. And I always felt like, even if Michael had custody or guardianship of Justine's sons, that Kylie would still be in the picture. She's not going to completely disappear. Even though she's going to be doing her own thing, living her own life, she loves her brothers enough to still stick around and to still be nearby and to still be in the damn picture, but that she just won't have that burden or that responsibility of, they got to come live with me. What if she wants to have a boyfriend live with her, or a husband live with her, or a girlfriend or wife or whatever? She's got these two boys living with her. So I thought that was a great idea that the lawyer gave Justine. So I don't know if they've made a decision yet. I don't think Justine had made a decision yet, but I thought the lawyer was really doing his job by suggesting that. Let's move on to Rob and Tennie. Y'all, Tennie doesn't work. I was shocked. So she was being supported. Her and her kids were being completely supported by Rob and his gambling earnings from prison. Wow. Y'all, watching this show has given me like a completely different perspective on prison life. Man, she was being completely supported by Rob and whatever he was earning through gambling or any other type of activities he was doing in prison. That is not only supported, not just like supported with the basic needs of life, like a roof over their head and food and paying their bills, but there was enough money for her to be like going on shopping sprees because her shoe game, her bag game, um, it's up there, right? She loves to shop and it's really, really evident. And the house they were living in was really nice too. So he says he was making like $6,000 to $7,000 a month while he was in prison. But anyway, so Rob has a job. He has a little not a temp. He's got a job. He's like a truck mechanic, but it's not really making enough money for him. I think it's, I don't know, it's a part time or a temp or what, but it's not making enough money. So he tells Tennie that she's gonna have to pull her weight. She's gonna have to get a job. And she's like, oh, that's nothing. I felt like it was like a shock to her system when he told her that, but she was trying to cover it up by acting like it was no big deal. She was like, oh, okay, I could get a job in 2 weeks. That's not a problem. Later on, they're at home and she's talking about how she had bought a $250 season pass to the water park. And we saw that last week when her and her kids were hanging out at the water park. So Rob had told her, if you're going to make a purchase of over $100, you have to run it by me. When she bought the water park pass, she did not run it by him because in her mind, she was justifying it with, it was more cost effective to get a season pass than to have to pay each and every single time you go to the water park. It's for the whole entire family, family of four, et cetera, et cetera. It was a lot cheaper than other activities that they could be paying for the kids during the summer, whatever. So she had justified it in her head of why it made sense to spend $250 on a water park pass. So Rob was upset. He was like, I told you if it's over a certain amount, you have to run it by me. Okay. So she gets defensive and she's like, you know what? You don't even got to worry about that because I'm going to be getting a job soon. So, you're belly aching over our finances. I'm going to be getting a job since I'm going to need you to calm down. And while I'm looking for a job, you need to be looking for a tattoo artist to cover up that tattoo of your ex. So on his upper arm, he has a tattoo of his ex's face. And so she has been telling him for a while that she wants that covered up. So she got upset. She's defensive. And she's like, okay, I'm going to look for a job. I'm going to show you I'm going to get a job. But you need to get rid of that damn tattoo. So they're going back and forth on that. And I'm just kind of like, wow, she was living good. Can you imagine your life being better while your husband's in prison than it is with him being out of prison? She was living so much better with him being in prison. Anyways, moving on. Britney and Kerok. So they're staying with Kerok's mentor. Her name is Coffee. So they couldn't, they were tired of the hotel living, the motel living, whatever it was. They're really sick and tired of it. They couldn't eat like real food. It was fast food every day. There were questionable characters in that area, in that neighborhood. So they thought it was better and safer to go stay with Kerok's mentor. So they're trying to figure out their finances. Kerok tells us that they're running low on money because he's constantly pulling out of his savings account, and their expenses are pretty high. They're paying for two rents. They're paying for rent at their Houston apartment so they don't lose it, and they're paying rent they're paying rent to Coffee, $350 a month, $1,400 a month to the Houston apartment, $350 a month to Coffee, plus other living expenses. Her nails, Brittany's nails, Kerok said, were like $500 a month for her to get her nails done because she gets her nails done every weekend. So Kerok doesn't want to get a job in Virginia because they could be leaving for Houston at any minute. So he doesn't want to start a job just to leave it. So that's why he's not getting a job right now. So Brittany suggests Kerok moving to Houston without her, and then just so that he can have a job and they can start getting some income coming in. And Kerok is like, no, I'm not going to leave without you. If I go to Houston, we're going together. So he doesn't want to do that. So then he comes up with this idea, look, what if we got married? So that it would increase your chances of Texas allowing you to parole over there, because we'll be husband and wife, we'll be considered family. You'll be on my lease as my wife, as my family member, and that might convince Texas to allow you to parole over there. So that's the plan. They want to get married. They want to elope. So she's hanging out with her best friend to go look at wedding dresses. And the best friend is like not understanding, like, what is the rush of getting married and eloping, because you had wanted to have this big grand wedding with your family and friends there. So why are you trying to rush and elope? And so Brittany explains to the friend, it's really to make it easier for us to move to Texas, because we're just wasting away here in Virginia and we're wasting a lot of money. So it's just easier. It's just a way to help us to increase our chances of us moving to Texas together. So the friend is still like, oh, but I don't understand, why you got to do everything Kerok wants you to do. Kerok wanted you to elope, so you're gonna elope. You're gonna give up the wedding of your dreams just because Kerok wants to elope. And I'm like, girl, didn't you just hear what she said? They want to be together in Texas, and this will help their chances. Well, it might help their chances. So as Brittany is trying on wedding dresses, the friend tells her, why don't you call your PO just to see whether or not this is actually going to help? If this idea is actually is going to help you get to Texas. So she calls her PO, and the PO says, you and Kira eloping and getting married and whatnot. All I can say is Texas looks down on people. Texas really is very wary of people who are trying to fool the system into thinking that they're a family, just, for them to move out of state together. It's like you're frauding the state. And Brittany's like, but we want to be together. I mean, has Texas seen this show? Is Texas watching Love After Lockup? This is a real couple. They are really together. They're not trying to do like a real quick wedding just to be paroled in Texas together. This is a real couple. I think the PO needs to talk to the people in Texas, the parole whoever in Texas, and convince them this is a real couple. They're not defrauding anybody. Let these people move to Texas so we can move on to the next storyline, because I'm getting sick and tired of this. Moving on to Kimberly and Joey. So Kimberly goes wedding dress shopping with her cousin. This is the cousin that Joey used to date back in high school, but Joey cheated on the cousin with Kimberly. So anyways, they've already made up from their little disagreement at Kimberly's engagement party, because Kimberly was having an engagement party, and when the cousin showed up, Joey was outside, and when he saw the cousin drive up, he whistled at her, and so this, caused her to have some type of a breakdown at the engagement party, and she told Kimberly, Joey whistled at me, and the whole thing fell apart. Anywho, so they made up from that situation. Now they're good again. So they're out there. She's out there at the wedding dress shop trying on wedding gowns. The first dress she tried on was horrible. The second one was really pretty. So the cousin is being very supportive of Kimberly, but she's not 100% sold on Joey being a good match for Kimberly. Honey, nobody's 100% sold on that. Kimberly, I don't know if Kimberly's just trying to relive the past, you know. She's trying to go back, back in time to when things were really hot and heavy between her and Joey. I don't know what is going. Anyways, this is the man she chose. It is what it is. But I agree with the cousin. I don't think Joey's a good match for her. So Kimberly tells her cousin that she is still not divorced from her husband. They are still legally married. And the reason why is because Kimberly said, I thought that, we would just be separated for a year. We both signed some papers and boom, we're divorced, because that's what I did with my first husband. But no, it's not going to work like that. It's more complicated than that. And I'm just like, Kimberly, girl, what are you doing? I don't understand when people want to get divorced, why it's taking years and years and years and years to get divorced, especially when you don't have a lot of property or assets together. I don't know if any of these, if for any of these kids are with her ex-husband. I don't know. It, y'all, it, if you really want to get it done, you can get it done. If her father has money to put down for her to get a house, Why can't her father help her get this divorce if she really, really cannot afford it? And she's that destitute, even though she bought this man a car, she bought Joey a car, she paid for an engagement party. Now she's paying for what? If she's doing all these things for Joey and her dad has money, why can't you get a divorce? I don't understand. So her cousin is like, oh my God, does Joey know? And Kimberly says, oh, he thinks that it's going to happen. It's going to be finalized any day now. He doesn't really know how complex it is or whatever the hell. So she's planning on telling Joey that she's still legally married. She's not divorced yet. And her divorce may take longer than what she thought. Then why are you planning a wedding? If you don't know when your divorce is going to be finalized, why are you even planning a wedding? Then they talk about the DNA for her son to see if this is Joey's child. Joey keeps on asking her, hey, have you gotten the results? Have you gotten the results? She's been telling Joey that she hasn't. I don't know if she has or she hasn't. I don't know. She seemed kind of like sneaky when she was talking about this. So she probably already knows the results. I have no idea. So the cousin's like, well, it seems like Joey's really controlling you because he's forcing you to get married. And I'm like, is he? Joey's forcing her to get married? I thought she was the one that was pushing the marriage. But anywho, he's forcing you to get married. He's forcing you to take a DNA test for your son. Then the cousin says, well, what if he just wants to marry you and then he's going to take off with all your money? I mean, I don't know. The cousin I don't know. I don't know. The cousin, I don't know if I would have said that to her. I definitely would have expressed my concerns. But then Kimberly is aware of what the concerns are with Joey. Everybody's been telling her that she might be rushing into things with Joey, but she don't want to listen to nobody. I really don't care. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.